Assalamualaikum. Alhamdulillah. Nasta'inu wa nasta'hdiru wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udzu billahi min syururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. May yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa may yudlil fala hadiya lahu. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la syarika lah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. All praises only belong to Allah. We ask forgiveness only from Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask forgiveness from the evil within our hearts, as well as forgiveness from the sins of our limbs. Whoever God guides, no one can mislead him or her. Whomever Allah left him or her astray, no one can guide him or her. I testify in front of you that there is nothing worthy to be worshipped, to be feared, to be hoped, except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's one, without any partner. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, because February is the month of Valentine, and last week we tested with three young Muslim, excellent students, top students, that even have a recommendation from the United Nations director for their volunteer activity. They got gunned down. And a lot of mass media and many Muslim, I've been in Emory since 1989, but I have not seen so many students shook up. Basically, the students are fearful. Some of them asking the counselor whether they still identify themselves as a Muslim outside, whether they're going to still wear the hijab, whether they're going to still wear the beard, and first of all, whether they want to identify as a Muslim. So because of that, I have to address a khutbah on that. And as a follow-up, I like to remind myself and you regarding this matter, and then combine it with the message of Valentine. Superficial message, and I'm going to go, instead of how we're going to respond what happened in this life, from what kind of love we are talking about. But first of all, I'd like you to recite, to remind myself, a very important hadith. This is a hadith Qudsi. What is hadith Qudsi? Hadith Qudsi is a hadith Allah give to Muhammad sallallahu, just like the Quran, but it is not, cannot be recited in a prayer. So it's not in the Quran. This is a hadith Qudsi. And the narration is come from Abu Hurairah. It has some relevance in our discussion. It says, radiyallahu anhu, an Abi Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, qala Rasulullah sallallahu, Inna Allah Azza wa Jal qala, and this is an indication of Hadith Qudsi. Rasulullah said, indeed Allah said this. I'm going to see the Arabic, then I'm going to translate in English. Man adali waliyan faqad azantu bi harb wa ma taqarraba ilayya abdi bi shay'in habba ilayya mimma maftataratu alayhi. وما يزال عبدي يتقرب إلي بالنوافل حتى أحبه فإذا أحببته كنت سمعه الذي يسمع به وبصره الذي يبصر به ويده التي يبطش بها ورجله التي يمشي بها وإن سألني لأعطينه ولئن استعاذني لأعيذنه وما ترددت عن شيء أنا فاعله ترددي عن نفسي عبدي المؤمن يكره الموت وأنا أكره مساءته in Sahih Bukhari. It means in English, Abu Hurairah narrated from Muhammad sallallahu, whoever is hostile, have issue with my saints, awliya, I declare war on him. A man does not come close to me with anything lovelier than what I have made them obligatory, the fard. The man continues to come nearer to me through voluntary deeds, nawafil, until I love him, and when I love him, I become his ears, which he hears. I become his sight, which he sees. I become his hands, which he strikes. I become his legs, which he strides. If he asks me, I shall surely grant his request. If he seek my refuge, I shall protect him. I do not hesitate in what I intend to do. We're talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah does whatever He does. And He said, I do not hesitate in what I intend to do, as I hesitate to take the soul of my faithful servant. He hates death, while I hate any harm to come to him. So this hadith have some messages, and we'll discuss as we go along. Now, what is the life trials? Excuse me. What is the life trials? Tribulation. There are many. I'll give you an example. This is an illustration, right? Last 2 weeks, there are a group of Americans climbed up that Capitan in the California mountain, in the Yosemite, the world's most challenging mountain in the straight granite up in the Yosemite Park in California. So it's a lot of challenges. That's not what I'm talking about, the challenges. Okay, this is A to Z, what challenges that you can see. This is about life. Some of it I highlighted with, well, too bad it doesn't have color because it's too bright. But those are the challenges I'm talking about that you and I have to face. And this one, too. So all this is the challenges that we are facing every day. And if you claim yourself do not have any challenges, you have only two options. Either you're truly Sufi, so you have no challenges, or you are totally hitless. Everything is okay. Right? In other words, you are Majnoon. So life full of challenges. And you can summarize it another way like this. You have many issues from self, regarding other people, or regarding the weather and anything else. Now, this book talks about 10 secret life challenges and how is the solution, how to do it. This is from a non-Muslim. This is from psychologists. So I'm going to go back with this, and all of us have this issue. The number one is how to make decision. And the last one is how to prepare for to die, right? And this is a real problem. And somewhere in between, what the common ground from number 2 to number 10 is you have to do the number 1. So now I'm going to use this as my model about our challenges, our trial, our test. How to do this and how we respond to that. Whether you are Muslim or non-Muslim, this is the way you always respond to the challenges. You're angry, you're annoyed, you're irritated, you resent, you fury, you rage. Why people do this? This is a sociological phenomenon, whether Muslim, non-Muslim. To be angry, so much so, Muhammad ﷺ said, like what in the reminder earlier, Rasulullah said to one companion asked, advise me, he said, don't get angry. And he asked again, he said, don't get angry. So angry, why people got angry? And we are, as a Muslim, not immune from angry. Why people get angry? This is the belief system about anger. Number one, it's powerful. It gives you a power. An example, your children doesn't want to go to bed. Your children doesn't want to take shower. The third time you remind them, what do? You express your anger, you raise your voice. When that happens, the children will go do what they're supposed to do. And the parent feel the anger have some benefits. In other words, the child will listen to me. So there is a power in anger. And anger also says, I want to make sure that other people doesn't treat me like a doormat. You know what doormat is? Doormat means like in front of the door, people will run over you. You don't want the society to treat you like a doormat. In other words, in the society, be a man. Be angry. Say something. Protect your wife. Protect your family. Say something nasty to show that, make sure that you have a guts, right? And then the third one have some value, but the anger is justified because they face injustices and unfairness. This happen all the time. This happen all the time. If you don't, one of the human observation is you have to look yourself in the mirror, how you deal with your own family, how you deal even with your car. What do you say to your car if it doesn't start it in winter? You get angry. You can start cursing. In American culture, if something happens, they don't curse. Something wrong with you. Something wrong with you. I mean, that you have no emotion. But the psychology do research. What they find is, it's not. This is not the reason why people get angry. In reality, this is what they believe. But in reality, the mechanics actually the opposite. This is what anger all about. Anytime people get anger, express what they want, actually they want what they don't want. They want what they don't have. Look at your child. Your child want to have a lollipop, right? Lollipop in the supermarket. And they pick you at a certain vulnerable position in a cashier desk. And they said, we want this lollipop. You said, no. You said, lollipop, no. They will just scream the alarm. And most of the parents will think, oh, no. The child understand. Screaming, angry, they have a power. And the parent give a positive feedback. Correct? This is normal. But the reality is, the people screaming, actually they are powerless. That's why they have to want something. This is exactly the behavior of the ISIS, the behavior of Taliban, the behavior of fanatics. Why the ISIS so angry? Because they don't have power. They want something, but they don't get. And the insecurity they have. So anger actually reflecting of their powerlessness. In other words, when people being abused so much, the way they react is through anger. Now, people get angry because there's benefit. Just like what I said earlier, a child will be throwing tantrum because there is a benefit of a lollipop, ice cream. The husband will be angry because to show that he is the leader of the house, so that the respect from the wife and the children. The wife will get angry because she want handbag, she want jewelry. If she do that enough, yelling, he will give in. There is this benefit to be angry. Now, but the problem is, this is not healthy, because anger, the way it relates to solution, the solution is 50% right. So what's the alternative? So the alternative is love. But it's not the love of Valentine what I'm talking about. Let's examine what kind of love we're talking about. What is love? Love is everybody wants it. But not everybody knows how to get it. For example, one of the challenges in that list, I give you the alphabetical order, is how to ask, a challenge for men is how to ask a girl to marry him. This is a problem. And how for a girl to tackle a man. It's a challenge. It's about love. But at the same time, also, love can cause anger and frustration, divorce, abuse. And we know love causes 50% out of wedlock in the United States of America. Children. And it's increasing. And love also is money, because as I showed, that's about 7 billion plus. That's United States of America. Just Valentine. Forget about other aspect of love. But love also causes misery, heartache, and depression. And even though it's a top list for human being, but it is also the top reason for become miserable. And why is that so? Let's examine from the Quranic, from the Prophet ﷺ perspective. Number one, let's understand who we are. Number one, this life is not end by itself. Because if you believe this life is end by itself, then you have an attitude, I will want to enjoy as much as I can before I die. If you don't get it, certain thing, you'll be upset because you want to enjoy everything that you want. Why? Because when I die, everything's done. So I want to enjoy as much as possible. In other words, I want to go to my grave with the biggest number of toys. The biggest number of toys. And therefore, I'll be successful. Now, what is life journey? The life journey begins on the left, pink color. In the world. On the top is original home is paradise. All of us come from paradise. Whether you are Muslim or not Muslim. And then you go to the pink section, that's in your mother's womb for 9 months. And then we go to this birthday, right? When we are children, there are many paradise people here, children with no accounting. They are on the birthday until they are baligh. And we are on the green part in the middle bottom. That's where we are. Then we go to Alam Barzah in the grave. And then we go to the Akhirah. And then there are 3 choices. 3 choices, 3 options to go to how we're going to end up. Number 1, we go straight to paradise and never come out anymore. May Allah make it easy to go there. Right? Everyone wants to go to that paradise. Number 1 option. Number 2 option is you go to paradise because of Allah love, Allah rahmah. The second option, you go to the court, you go to hellfire first, by Allah's justice. And then, you will, after you're purified, you go to the paradise. That's the second option. The third option is, you go to hellfire and stay there forever. Na'uzubillah. So this is journey. In other words, there are 5 stages of our journey. We are basically time traveler. You have paradise, we have mother's womb, you have this world, you have after barzah, you have hereafter, you go to home. Whether home in paradise, home in hellfire. We are now in the 3rd stage of 5 stations. So that is, first, we have to understand this. In other words, this life does not end by itself. So what I do in this life have impact on the next journey. What I do in this life have impact on the first night in my grave. That's what we have to have certainty about it. Now, second part, the musibah, the challenges that I described to you, is between self and others. In other words, an issue between hablum minan nas, right? The entire secular system of mindset psychology, how to make you to be happy, to be successful, is only dealing with you and other creation. In the absence of the owner of everything, Allah Ta'ala. But the first thing that Islam teach you, between you and other creation, the human being, there's Allah, witness everything. So there are three things that you have to consider. If you believe that everything that you do is witnessed by God, and you have to go through a journey, you're uncountable to God, the way you handle musibah, calamity, trials, tests, slightly different. And this is proven by today's psychology. I'm going to do that in a moment. Now, this is the verse just Brother Vito just recited. This is to prove you from the Quranic perspective. I'm going to borrow a few parts of the Quran, try to prove the thesis, my proposal, that love is the way to respond to the calamity, whatever it is that Allah give it to you. Look at this, the verse. The first of all, look at that, the first verse called Kul in kuntum. Is very, very important. The word in, alif, nun, what does it mean? In English mean if. If. Allah doesn't command us to love Him. He gives us a choice. It's a choice. If you want to love Allah, then follow me. Kul means Allah speak to Muhammad sallallahu. And Muhammad sallallahu explained us to us. So in other words, the love that I'm talking about is a love from the owner of love. Not love from Saint Valentine. Not love from the awliya something or the Sufi somewhere. Not love from whatever in your head. It's love defined from the owner of love, that God. Now, and if this precious thing about love, how should I get it? You have to follow the beloved of the owner of love. Then Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Fattabi'uni," then follow me. The word "fa" means if you have an inclination to love Allah, immediately you have to follow Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Fa means there's no space. The conclusion. Then Allah will love you. What is the product of Allah love you? Allah will forgive your sin. Now, and Allah in this verse also explain who He is. Wallahu ghafurur rahim. Allah is the most loving. Ghafur means forgiving and loving. From the word rahim, a woman's womb. That who Allah is. Now, what is the key here is, if you want Allah's love, you have to follow the sifat of Allah Ta'ala with other creation. In other words, you have to forgive others too, and you have to love others too, whether they are Muslim or non-Muslim. But of course, there are a level of love. So in other words, if you want the true love, you have to emulate the owners of love characteristic as humanly possible. And the best human to exercise that expression of love is nothing, nobody else except Muhammad sallallahu. The people in this country love Jesus because Jesus is a prophet of love. But Jesus is not the beloved of God. We love Jesus. If we don't love Jesus, we're not Muslim. But at the same time, Jesus has lower category, lower scale than Muhammad sallallahu. Because Muhammad sallallahu is Habibullah, the beloved of God. Whereas Jesus is Ruhullah, the spirits of Allah. So when a Muslim think about love, prophet of love, they go to Jesus, then you have out of adab. You don't know, you have no knowledge. Now, if the follower of Muhammad sallallahu, like ISIS, the fanatics, extremists among Muslims, they kill people for no reason. They kill Muslim, non-Muslim, they burn them up. How will they get the love of God? Because they do the antithesis to Allah command them. Because after you emulate Allah as human possible, how you do that? You follow Muhammad sallallahu. And here Allah command you, wa atillah atiu rasul. So submitting, following Allah and Muhammad is required. You cannot just say atiullah, period. Just like some Muslims believe anti-hadith. It's totally un-Islamic. Because it's impossible to follow Allah without following Muhammad sallallahu. For example, how are you going to pray? How are you going to pray without Muhammad sallallahu? How are you going to get married? What is rukun of marriage? How are you going to get business? Allah doesn't explain this in the Quran. Muhammad sallallahu explained it. So you have to, basically, the root of love you're talking about is love based on the shahadatain, la ilaha Muhammad Rasulullah. Now, if you look at the Forbes list of most richest people on the world, I look at the list in 2011, and I think it's still correct now. You put the 100 billionaire in the world, most probably the Muslim will be less than 5. So, my point is, doesn't mean that you are a billionaire, you have so many toys, Allah love you. Why? Because He says so. La yuhibbul kafirin. Allah do not love disbeliever. So, if you want to be a rich person like a Bill Gates, that's fine. But you have to ask something else. You want to be a Bill Gates wealth, but you want to have another wealth that's more valuable than what Bill Gates has. That's Iman. Iman, without Iman, whatever the billionaire have in this world mean nothing to you on the first night of the grave. Nothing. So, do not be excited to follow non-Muslim. You follow them with qualifier. Because faith is the most precious of all. However, if the non-Muslim do good, you support them. Why? Because that's Allah's command. Because majority of human beings in this planet, throughout history, from Adam alayhi salam until today, majority is non-Muslim. It is facts. So, therefore, Allah teach us how to live peacefully with them. How to live peacefully with a non-Muslim. Because non-Muslim has rights. We also have rights, but they also have rights. And that is summarized in the 5 kullis, 5 objectives of Islamic law, that I hope you memorize by heart today. Let's look at another group of verses. It's the same thing. You said, this is in the middle of Saf. This is a business proposal. Ya allazina amanu, hal adullukum ala tijaratin tunjikum azabin alim. Oh, you believe, shall I tell you a business tijara that save you from the fire of hell? Remember the third option, the 3 options? The second option is you go to hellfire, then go to paradise. The third option is you go to hellfire and forever. This is what talk about. You don't want to go there. How to do that? What kind of business? And the subsequent verse, Allah talk about the business strategy. What is the business strategy? Number one, tu'minu billahi wa rasulihi, to believe in Allah and His messenger. Number one, that is in your heart. Number two, وَتُجَاهِدُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ بِأَمْوَالِكُمْ وَأَنفُسِكُمْ. Struggle, do your jihad, not with your limbs, with your wealth, with your soul. You have to follow two things. Number one, your intention have to go to Allah Ta'ala. Number two, the way you do, the mannerism, the adab of the way your action have to be within the limit of Islamic Sharia. Number one is intention, and sound action. Now, sound intention have two parts. The first part is sound iman. What is sound iman? You believe what Muhammad Sallam brought to you. Muhammad Sallam brought to you to believe in Allah, His books, His angels, His akhirah, and the qadar. You believe everything. And the explanation of those. You know, when you believe in akhirah, it doesn't mean just akhirah. You believe in hellfire, paradise, the sirat, the pool, the punishment, the pleasure, the shade, everything. You believe, whatever He brought. And then you believe that Quran is not creation of Allah. He is the words of Allah Ta'ala. You believe like that. So, to have a sound iman is easy. You just study. We just study in class. We just study it from a teacher, or from a book. And the best is from a teacher that's isnad, that's got a connection to Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The second part of intention is much more difficult, very, very difficult. And scholars have to go years, up to 30 years, have to get this. In other words, ikhlas. There is a scholar, I forgot his name, he wrote in the book, I struggle to get ikhlas for 30 years, ikhlas in a salat. 30 years. Try to get the purity of ikhlas. After that, I enjoy. What is the enjoyment of salat? When the salat has fruits, have a product. What is the product of salat? Inna salata tatanha anil fahsya'i wal munkar. When the salat is a shield from the doer of salat from doing anything injustice and doing ugly things, like committing sins, big sin, small sin. That is the fruits of salat. In other words, the person that enjoys the salat, the non-Muslim will love him or her. The enemies of him or her will love that person of that sound ikhlas salat. Now, what is the fruits of this business? Two parts. The green underline, and the yaghfir lakum dunubakum wa yudhikum jannatin tajri min tahtiha al-anhar, and so on. Allah will forgive your sin. Allah will enter your paradise, and He described you to paradise, the river, the mansion, and all this in the garden. And Allah stated, this is the biggest, the highest success. ذَلِكَ الْفَوْزُ الْعَظِيمُ. But some people say, but this is too far. This is too far. I have to die first. I want to enjoy the product of the salat now in this life. Then the bottom blue color. Then Allah promise you, in business, if you do that business strategy, you will get the help, nasrum min Allah. You will be helped by Allah Ta'ala. Second,